The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
I'm looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of Tuesday evening news. Tuesday evening
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Psychedelic Reporters for this Tuesday, June 25th, episode 115, here on the NOK Network, the video news podcast focused on psychedelic medicine being reported in mainstream media. Shout out to the guys in Dead Ringer from Kirkland Lake, Ontario for the awesome intro track. Originally recorded by the Moody Blues with some customized changes for our show. I am joined by my amazing joint host, Tara Simpson, along with the one and only Bufo Alverius, who has chosen all of our stories for us. Hello, Tara.
Well, hello, hobbies, and hello, everyone. Great to be back after another week yet again. I'd like to take a minute to introduce Bufo. He is our Sonoran desert toad, or Colorado mud toad. Did you know he emits DMT from his skin? And while that sounds like fun, park rangers would like to remind everyone, please don't lick that toad.
And it's mainly, I mean, for safety precautions, right? So that's a lot of DMT to lick at once.
Yeah, you're not getting a controlled dose. That's for sure. So that could be a whole other experience. Though today, with the migraine I'm battling, I would gladly lick a toad.
So DMT helps with migraines then?
I don't know. I know that LSD normally kicks my migraines right in the chops. And I've been doing my microdosed LSD. I'm more functionable than I was an hour and a half ago, but it's not quite strong enough today. So I don't know if I just need more of that microdose because I don't do the technical full microdose as it calls for on the directions. I do about half that, 3/4 of that with a migraine. So maybe I need to go a little higher in dose, but I need to still be able to function. So I'm erring on the side of caution and just taking small little bits here and there to buffer the bit of relief I'm getting at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And normally it just nips it right in the butt. 20 minutes and I'm back to working, and like today's been a battle, but I also didn't hit it right at the beginning like I normally do. I just thought I needed some doobies and coffee this morning. But that's not the case.
Right. So, right here, this comes from ABC15.com. Magic mushroom bill vetoed, but human clinical testing to move forward. This bill would have opened the door for psychedelic mushroom treatment and testing facilities in Arizona. And this is by Ben Brown. We just read this last week about them about to do it.
Right, we did. They were talking about the bill going forward and being voted on, but it hadn't actually happened. But from the sounds of it, that has happened now. Although Governor Katie Hobbs vetoed Senate Bill 1570, which would have opened the doors for psychedelic treatment and testing facilities in Arizona Scottsdale Research Center, found a silver lining. This is going to catapult Arizona to the forefront of the most important clinical studies on psilocybin mushrooms in the world. Dr. Sue Sisley, principal investigator for Scottsdale Research Institute, told ABC 15. I mean, there's nowhere else on this planet where people are utilizing natural psilocybin mushrooms to evaluate both the safety and efficacy of mushrooms in humans. While the bill is dead, meaning there won't be psilocybin treatment and testing centers around the valley, the millions in funding allocated for Scottsdale Research Institute and the University of Arizona to conduct their own human clinical trials with psilocybin mushrooms will still remain available. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder and suffering from trauma, there's the potential to help a lot of people. Nicole Nichols, a Scottsdale Research Institute principal investigator, said, I'm really proud of our state for taking this initiative and funding this research. Dr. Sisley said Scottsdale Research Institute still needs approval from the FDA, but she's hoping to start human clinical trials this fall.
Patients will attend sessions in groups of 4, ingest the psilocybin through infused chocolates, and be monitored and evaluated by the staff. That same facilitator who took them through the prep and drug administration will also be working with them every week for months to ensure that all things she learned in her experience can be integrated into her life in positive and meaningful ways so she can improve those things she addressed during the ceremony when she set those intentions. Dr. Sisley said, Scottsdale Research Institute also supplies the psilocybin mushrooms for the University of Arizona, which will be conducting its own human clinical trials. Oh, that's it.
That's it. Oh, it was a short one.
Wow. Is it good or is it bad that they vetoed it?
I mean, at least they can still do the research and funding, which might help catapult the bill to be approved later. I think that some of the vetoes, as we talked about in previous articles about this, is their apprehension and the safety, etc. Right? So I think that the research has to be there more in their face, and I think they're going to get those results doing the clinical trials. And that will eventually, hopefully, open the door to actual facilities, as we're seeing in other countries where it's already happening, other states even, right?
Yeah. So this next article comes from greenstate.com, and this is Psychedelics. LSD inches closer to FDA approval. And this was by Kara Wheatstock.
Yeah, so this one's really interesting because I'm a big LSD fan for its ability to make me able to function with migraines, as I'm doing right now. So this is really cool that LSD, also, or lysergic acid dihyphamine, also known as LSD or acid, has captured attention since Albert Hofmann took that fateful bike ride. For generations, the compound remained highly illegal, classified as Schedule I controlled substance by the United Nations. While the scheduling remains, pharmaceutical company MindMeds is investigating the potential medical applications of the chemical with MM120. MM120 is lysergide D-tartan, a synthesized version of LSD developed by MindMeds. After banner results in phase 2, MindMeds is celebrating a positive meeting going into the potential phase 3 clinical trials for generalized anxiety disorder. We are pleased to have reached alignment on our phase 3 development strategy for MM120 in GAD, Rob Barrow, CEO of MindMed, said in a press release. We are on schedule to initiate our phase 3 clinical trial program for MM120 oral dissolving tablet in people with GAD in the second half of this year, and we look forward to sharing additional details on the design of our pivotal program in the coming months.
LSD for anxiety. GAD impacts roughly 3% of the U.S. population, with women twice as likely to receive a diagnosis. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors are commonly prescribed for GAD, and benzodiazepines are often prescribed for immediate symptom relief. Success rates on SSRIs for GAD range around 42 to 77%. Some patients choose greener options like cannabis, though the results can be mixed. Both options are continually consumed for best results. The concept of psychedelic compounds to treat anxiety symptoms and disorders isn't new, but MM120 is the first LSD application to move through the US FDA clinical trial process. Phase 2 results were published in March with fanfare as a single 100 microgram dose led to 48% remission from GAD after 12 weeks. What's more, 65% of participants in the multi-center randomized double-blind parallel group dose-finding study experienced symptom relief after 3 months. Wow.
Wow, eh? Positive results lead to phase 3. The drug didn't stir up many issues within the cohort aside from a few minor occurrences that were expected side effects. Overall, the results are filed under promising, and the FDA seems to agree. On behalf of the 20 million people in the US and the millions more worldwide who are living with GAD, we are incredibly excited for the therapeutic potentials that MM120 shows based on the data from a previously completed phase 2 MMED-008 trial, said MindMed CEO Daniel Carlin, MD. Following the phase 2B results, the FDA designated MM120 a breakthrough therapy, signifying that it may demonstrate substantial improvement for serious or life-threatening conditions. The designation also expedites the lengthy FDA clinical trials approval and processes. The latest announcement marks a stride to phase 3 where MM120 will be compared to the current standard treatment. Following the end of phase 2 meeting, MindMed is confident phase 3 will take place in 2025, and Carlin looks forward to the possible relief for GAD patients. Few treatment options have shown robust activity in GAD, with the last new FDA approval occurring in 2007. We are committed to bringing MM120 to people living with GAD, and we are excited to move into the next phase of our development program, Carlin said.
Wow, that's a great article. I still don't know how I feel about the whole synthesized aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like synthetic anything. I think that you lose something when you start messing with what's natural, right?
Yeah, well, and the whole fight was natural. Get away from these medications and other stuff and additives that are in the medication.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know about the whole synthetic process, but again, LSD technically is a chemical, correct? It's a chemical compound made in a lab. Now, they obviously are not following maybe the initial original recipe, hence the synthetic derivative, maybe. I don't know how that all works, but that's my understanding of it.
this next article. Yeah, I don't understand it. We should get one of these technicians on here and give us a little spiel. Or
Yeah,
give you guys a spiel. Yeah, on
yeah,
Open Your Eye.
yeah, for sure. Maybe we can get MindMed's CEO to come on and explain all that for us.
Right. Yeah, explain what is lysergic acid or synthesized. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our next article comes from SciPost, and this is psychedelics integrate sleep-like spectral brain patterns into walking consciousness. Study suggests, and this is by Eric Dolan.
Yeah, in a recent study published in Scientific Reports, researchers have uncovered connections between the psychoactive effects of classic psychedelics and brain activity patterns that resemble those seen in sleep. The findings suggest that psychedelic substances induce a unique state that integrates waking behaviors with sleep-like brainwaves. Interesting. Classical psychedelics, like compounds like 5-methoxine and ditryptyline, which is 5-MeO-DMT, known to induce profound changes in perception, emotion, cognition, and movement. These substances, structurally similar to serotonin, have been the subject of interest due to their potential therapeutic effects and their ability to produce states similar to dreaming. However, the exact brain mechanism underlying these effects remains largely unknown. As a sleep and memory researcher, I have been interested in psychedelic states as waking proxies of dreaming, said study author Sidra Riable, a medical professor of neuroscience at the Brain Institute of the Federal University of Rio Grande do Norte, an associate researcher of the Center for Strategic Studies of Fiocruz, I think is how it's said, the author of The Oracle Night. We have previously found that psychedelics can induce neuroplasticity akin to that induced by sleep. This prompted our interest in assessing neural markers of slow wave sleep and rapid eye movement sleep after the administration of 5-MeO-DMT, a potent classical psychedelic substance.
Slow wave sleep, SWS, is a deep stage of sleep characterized by slow, high amplitude brain waves called delta waves. It is crucial for physical restoration, memory consolidation, and overall brain health. Rapid eye movement, REM sleep, on the other hand, is marked by low amplitude, mixed frequency brain activity similar to awake state, and it's named for the quick, random movements of the eyes. REM sleep is essential for processing emotions, learning, and memory is when most dreaming occurs. The researchers conducted their study using 17 adult male rats. These animals were housed under controlled conditions and subjected to a sense of experimental sessions. The focus was the acute effects of 5-MeO-DMT, a psychedelic compound, on brain activity. What? Are they about to tell me they're like they were in rats' dreams? To investigate this, the team used electrodes to record brain activity from two key areas: the medial prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus. These regions are crucial for cognition and navigation, respectively. The electrodes were carefully implanted in the rats' brains, allowed for detailed monitoring of electrical activity. The experimental design involved advertising different doses of 5-MeO-DMT or saline as a control to the rats, then recording their brain activity and behaviors. The recordings were made while the rats moved freely in an arena, which provided a naturalistic setting for observing the effects of the drug. Rats exhibited a range of altered behaviors after receiving 5-MeO-DMT. This included uncoordinated movements, periods of stillness, and stereotype behaviors like head twitching.
Interesting. The research found that 5-MeO-DMT induced notable changes in brainwave patterns, particularly in the hippocampus. Theta waves, which dominate during active behavior and REM sleep, showed a significant decrease in power after the drug's administration. This was not solely due to changes in the rat's movement. This was solely due to changes in the rat's movement speed, suggesting a direct effect of the drug on brain activity. The researchers also found changes in gamma waves, which are associated with higher brain functions like attention and memory. Both slow and mid-gamma oscillations were affected, with a dose-dependent reduction in their power and modulation of the theta waves. This indicates that 5-MeO-DMT alters the complex interplay between different brain rhythms. Using a technique called state mapping, which plots the brain activity patterns, the researchers observed that 5-MeO-DMT induced transitions between waking-like and sleep-like states. Even though the rats were awake and moving, their brain activity resembled that of sleep states, particularly slow wave sleep and REM sleep. This suggests the drug creates a hybrid state combining elements of both wakefulness and sleep.
We were quite surprised by the fact that the transition probabilities across states, as defined by the brainwave, i.e., the chance of going from one state to the other, were not significantly changed after 5-MeO-DMT administration, despite the fact that the animals were very obviously awake, moving around and performing stereotype behaviors, Alverius told Psychedelic. The take-home message of our study is that rats will be overly awake after the administration of 5-MeO-DMT, and yet their brainwaves will show the continuation of the sleep-wake cycle. We suspect that this could be the basics for the existence of psychedelic substates in which rats, presumably humans, are often extroverted, walking-like, or introverted, sleep-like. Furthermore, these introverted states may come in two flavors. One more slumberish and another more generic, REM-like. The findings provide new insights into the complex effect of psychedelics on the brains. Rats have a brain structure that, with simpler, shares many functional similarities with the human brain. These similarities also researchers to draw parallels between rat and human brain function and make inferences about psychedelic might affect human brains. Wow.
However, the findings in rats may not fully translate to humans due to species-specific differences in metabolism, receptor distribution, and overall physiology. Rats are not humans, so we cannot assess their subjective experience directly, Ribo noted. He plans to follow up on these results in human subjects and then explore in detail the features of each of these three psychedelic substates: waking-like, sleeping-like, and REM-like. It's time for psychedelics to be fully legalized and freely investigated. And I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah. The study, 5 years, the hippocampus, that's all that crap. We don't have to read all that. If you like this article, go check out Signpost. In fact, we say the news provider. So if you want to go get a check yourself or anything else, it's there. I just don't understand how a rat and my mind and their mind, and I don't understand. There's so many guinea pigs out there that would volunteer to be a part of these studies and be honest about them.
Absolutely. There would be no shortage of participants. But again, I mean, a clinical trial, you have to have obviously, some getting the real deal and some not. And, there's lots of variables there. So, even if you sign up, you don't necessarily get the treatment, right?
Right. Well, it's medication time.
That's right. It is time to pay some bills. So stay tuned for a word from some of our sponsors, and we will be back with articles making mainstream media news that Bufo has chosen for us.
Back in 4 minutes and 20 seconds here on the Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network.
Psychedelic Tuesdays on NOK Network. Tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Psychedelic Reporters. Bufo Alverius is scouring the newswires for stories being reported in the mainstream media on the psychedelic front and passing them on to Hobbies Puppets and Simpson so they can bring them to you, our listeners, in this 60-minute video news podcast. Tuesday evening news. Join us for Tuesday evening news each week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for all your news and information from the world of psychedelic medicine. Follow and subscribe to NOK Network on our webpage, social media, and streaming sites, including YouTube and Rumble.
Peace, news, and views on NOK Network. Patients everywhere advocating cannabis evolution with Kim Cooper and Sir Steve O. Joint hosts interview people in the grassroots and corporate cannabis space across North America and beyond. Sit down with patients, entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors, and others share their journey with this medicinal plant. So join us for Peace, News, and Views. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where all consumption is medicinal consumption on NOKnetwork.com. Follow and subscribe to NOK Network on social media and streaming sites including Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble.
Put it all away for 30 minutes a day on IWK. The IWK 710 Daily Sesh is a virtual gathering where consumers meet up for a toke and some laughs at 7 p.m. Eastern nightly. Originally aired on InfoWikim social media pages, the IWK 710 Daily Sesh is now also podcasted on NOK Network. Rotating joint hosts bring you a variety of content during this 30-minute virtual smoke sesh. Take a break from the stresses in life and put it all away for 30 minutes a day on IWK. Podcasted nightly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NOK Network.
Hey, dudes and dudettes. Enjoy the show, man.
And we're back from our medication session live here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network.
And we have another set of stories coming at you from the realm of psychedelic medicine. So let's get at it. Oh, see, this is where I took a big dab hit. I forgot to even have the next article up.
That's okay. That's all right. I just took a little more LSD, so let's hope and pray that kicks the crap out of what's left of this migraine.
It's so great that you use that for medication, and you know what you need to take for your body and for the certain.
Well, yeah, I've been through the ringer with everything from like migraine prescription medications to Advil, Tylenol, opioids. I mean, I've tried it all. I've even done lidocaine injections and nerve blocks in my head and neck. I've done a variety of treatments to combat chronic ongoing migraines. And to be honest, LSD was never on my list of things I wanted to ever revisit. It was never a good thing in high school. I was the paranoid girl hiding under the bed for people that weren't coming for her. So for me, it was kind of like, I don't know if I want to revisit this. And it was a total fluke. I decided to try it one day. I thought, what do I have to lose? And I took a microdose, and be damned if it didn't freaking well take that migraine away. And I went, no, I'm making this up. It's got to be in my head, right? And time again, it has not failed me. And even today, I mean, I wasn't functioning before we started our show. An hour and a half before, I was laying in bed trying not to throw up. And now I'm sitting here doing a podcast, struggling a little bit still, but better than I was an hour and a half ago. And that's without any traditional pharmaceutical interventions. So that's pretty interesting. And I'd really love to see a study on migraines and LSD in the near future.
Well, and now that world is pushing this company, in fact, in this article from behaviorhealthbusiness.com, is talking about how a company, even before it's legal, is putting all their money in the basket in providing a behavioral healing realty trust to put $25 million in behavioral health psychedelic real estate. And this is by Chris Larson.
Yeah, so Healing Realty Trust was the first tranche of a $25 million Series A funding round. The Jupiter, Florida-based real estate investment company will use the funds to acquire healthcare facilities in Texas, Ohio, and Connecticut, one facility each. Healing Realty Trust is focused on developing real estate for clinics that house novel behavioral health treatments, especially psychedelic-assisted therapies. The organization's focus also includes clinics for providers that offer physical health care as well. Wellness properties have been historically overlooked by healthcare-focused REIT, despite the fastest growing area of the wellness economy. Joe Catabiano, CEO of Healing Realty Trust, said in a news release, as a first mover in this sector, we have cornered an untapped high growth opportunity as Americans become more interested in innovative treatments and demand for the new medications increases. The 3 facilities were acquired for $8.1 million and have an average capitalization rate of about 11%. They include a 36,000 1,000 square foot outpatient center in Texas, a 37,000 square foot medical office complex in Ohio, and a 15,000 square foot medical and office buildings in Connecticut that is anchored by DaVita Inc., which is a dialysis clinic. Healing Realty Trust pipelines encompass over 700,000 square feet of healthcare office spaces. Its target spaces include medical offices, dialysis clinics, mental health offices, clinics, and addiction treatment facilities. The company, once known as Healing Commercial Real Estate Inc.
Psychedelics and psychedelic-like treatments have proliferated across the U.S. to middling success at best. A handful of the most developed companies have faced serious stumbles, and in some cases, as with ketamine, wellness centers ceased to exist as it once did. Most of its assets were acquired by a telehealth company, and it has been forced to stop trading public securities. Experts in the field have previously told behavioral health business that these types of treatment are not viable enough of a product offering to sustain business as their primary focus. For the most part, psychedelics are shut out of the marketplace because most health plans won't cover them because the Food and Drug Administration has not cleared them to treat behavioral health issues. The future for the use of their kinds of substances is less sure to get FDA nod after an advisory committee made a non-binding decision that did not improve an application for MDMA's use to treat PTSD.
Wow.
So yeah, they're like providing these places in hopes that it's going to get legal, and in hopes that their plan is going to be the way that the FDA approves for treatment facilities to be, man.
Yeah, that's fantastic. They're already preemptively predicting that this is going to be a big thing. And as a real estate company, they've jumped on board to offer those spaces for this to be facilitated. And I think it's cool because it's kind of a one-stop shop by the sounds of it. So you can go get your psychedelic treatment and then go speak to maybe a therapist on site, or, you know, a medical practitioner, or, you know, like, I like those integrated health centers where kind of everything's under one roof and it becomes like a healthcare network team who's overseeing your care, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because then you're within the network. You don't have to tell your case to a bunch of strangers.
Yeah, they can share information within the clinics. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So this comes out of Canada Movies, Yahoo.com News. Australia legalizes medical MDMA psychedelic mushrooms for treatment-resistant disorders from HuffPost, Marco Margaritoff.
Yeah, the Australian government revealed in a surprise announcement Friday that MDMA and the psychedelic mushrooms will soon be medically available for patients with post-traumatic stress disorder and treatment-resistant depression, respectively. The decision follows numerous international studies that point to the promise of magic mushrooms, also known as psilocybin, and MDMA, otherwise known as ecstasy or Molly, for alleviating mental health issues. Prescriptions will start in Australia on July 1st. The Therapeutic Goods Administration clarified that only authorized psychiatrists will be able to dole out the substances out, and only for patients whose depression or post-traumatic stress disorder have proven resistant to traditional treatment and standard medication. The decision acknowledges the current lack of options for patients with specific treatment-resistant mental illness. The administration wrote in a statement on its website, it means that psilocybin and MDMA can be used therapeutically in a controlled medical setting.
Wow, psychedelic mushrooms can be prescribed for treatment-resistant depression in Australia starting July 1st. Australian laws will otherwise continue to classify the substance as Schedule 9 drugs. The mirrors practices in the United States, where psilocybin and MDMA are indexed as Schedule 1 drugs due to a lack of accepted medical use, according to the government. Friday's announcement has been warmly received by the Australian researchers. Stephen Bright, a senior lecturer at Edith Cowan University, told The Guardian that the move will make Australia the first country in the world to officially recognize MDMA and psilocybin as medicines. While some may be skeptical approaching MDMA and psilocybin as tools rather than the criminal evidence could be an invaluable step. About 13 million Americans had PTSD in 2020, for instance, where 21 million had a major depressive episode. The safe remediclassification of certain historically illicit drugs is a very welcome step away from what has been decades of demonstration. Dr. David Cardicott, a clinical senior lecturer in emergency medicine at the Australian National University, told The Guardian. Wow.
MDMA, otherwise known as ecstasy or Molly, will be medically available for post-traumatic stress disorder. In addition to a clear and evolving therapeutic benefit, it also offers the chance to catch up on the decades of lost opportunity delving into the inner workings of the human mind. Abandoned for so long as part of an ill-conceived, illogical war on drugs, he continues. Mike Musker, a Enterprise Fellow in the Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Research and Education Group at the University of South Australia, echoed these remarks. He told Australian Broadcasting Corporation that thousands of people across Australia will benefit from medicinal use. There are also many people in the community experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder and depression, particularly Army veterans and people who have worked in emergency services, where standard psychedelic drugs have not worked or offered no relief, Musker said.
Wow.
So that's really cool. It's coming to Australia. They're ahead of even Canada over there. Like, amazing.
Right. I like it. Even in the article, they say if you or someone needs help, dial 988 for the National Suicide Prevention Line. And I mean, because people that are suffering from PTSD or other people that are watching these studies will be reading these articles. And I just think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that these articles are out there because I really hope that anyone suffering with these issues is doing their own research and trying to help themselves. And if they read these articles, maybe that will give them some hope for their own issues, right? As someone who's been on numerous pharmaceuticals over the years for all sorts of issues, including depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. Again, none of that worked. I did the drugs, I did the psychotherapy, I did cognitive behavioral therapy. I did all of that, and I still had the same issues. But getting off of pharmaceuticals and going to cannabis and then to mushrooms, which was like a total game changer. And now even the LSD, I think, has helped with some of those neural pathways that maybe were just not firing right still in my brain. As far as like the depression, anxiety, because I have issues trying to get up and go out, right? It's that like, okay, I got to do this, but I can't do this, but I got to do it, but I can't do it. Sometimes just taking like, I call it a microdose, but again, on my bottle, it's called a starter dose. So it's not even a full microdose of LSD, but I find it helps to break that little bit of anxiety down a little bit. So I can be like, okay, now I got to do it. Not, I should do it. I'm going to do it. I might do it. I don't know, Yeah. So even in a starter dose, and again, I can't compare it to that MM120 because I don't know what their dosing is, but in a microdose, which is I mean, my whole bottle is equal to what would be one standard 100 international units or whatever they classify it as. So 1 tab of acid. So I'm not even taking, more than 2 mils at a time. So I'm not getting psychoactive effects, but I'm definitely getting the benefits. So it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for some of these psychedelics in treatment for all sorts of issues.
Right. No, I get it. Wow. It's this world is just so awesome. It's the way that you're being able to more pick healthier patterns of medications, and I mean, it's not just about getting high anymore. It's taking, yeah.
Absolutely.
But,
Kim and I had Russell Langhammer on our show recently on Open Your Eye, and he actually is now also not just microdosing with mushrooms and macrodosing, but he has now gone to some LSD as well in his regimen, and he's finding great improvement as well, which is really, really cool for a guy who, was in the same situation, pharmaceuticaled up and not doing well, and now he's pharma free and medicated with natural substances and benefiting from that. This was a guy who was supposed to die.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you're watching this at home, go watch. Open Your Eye. Watch.
Look him up. He's out of Texas, guys. He's out of Texas. So he's the only Russell Langhammer you'll find online. So.
Well, thank you for joining us here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network, for tuning in to our video podcast on NOK Network's Rumble and YouTube pages, as well as our social media sites.
We really hope you've enjoyed our update today on mainstream media coverage of psychedelic medicine advancements from around the globe.
Many thanks to our sponsors and to my joint hosts, Terrence Simpson and to Bufo Alverius, for choosing the stories, and to you, our listeners, for joining each week on Psychedelic Tuesday. Let's hear from Dead Ringer again from Kirkland Lake on our way out. Good night.
Night.
Looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairy land of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of